Hi everyone, thank you for joining our webinar today announcing Canada's new legacy giving campaign called Willpower. My name is Shandukam Trinidad. I'm the Charity Marketing Associate here at Canada Helps, and I'm happy to welcome you to today's presentation, which will be led by our friends from the Canadian Association of Gift Planners, Paul Nazareth and Laurie Fox. So they'll both be going over the new research on legacy giving that informs the campaign, how the campaign works, how your charity can take part and the benefits to you, as well as when Willpower is coming to your community. There will be a Q&A period after the presentation to address any questions you may have. And before I hand it over to Paul, actually, to get things started, let's just go over some quick housekeeping slides we've got for you here. So for those of you who are new to Canada Helps, welcome. We build online fundraising tools to empower and help charities become more self-sustainable. And for charities, we offer open access to a full suite of affordable online giving tools with full donor information. We also provide educational resources so charities can better understand their donors and steward them along their journey. For donors, we have offered a convenient, safe, and trusted destination for donating to and fundraising for all registered Canadian charities for more than 19 years. More than 2 million Canadians have donated over $1 billion to Canada Helps, and to date, over 20,000 charities across Canada rely on Canada Helps fundraising tools to build capacity. So that's a little bit about us. In terms of audio, if you're having trouble hearing me, please turn up your computer's volume. If that doesn't work, click Sound Check under your GoToWebinar panel. Select the Speaker tab in there and turn the volume on the Speaker tab to the far right. For the best webinar experience, we ask that you close all other applications. And yes, we will email you a link to the webinar recording and slides within the next 24 hours. Also, please note that you can hear us, but we can't hear you. If you have any questions at all, just type them into the questions log of your GoToWebinar panel at any time. So I'm just going to introduce our speakers for today. First, we have Laurie Fox. Laurie has been a die-hard charity sector professional for close to 2 decades. Most recently, Laurie specialized in marketing and fundraising, specializing in gift planning specifically, at Toronto General and Western Hospital Foundation and Plan International Canada. Laurie's previous experience includes designing and developing new programs at various international development organizations in Kenya, the U.S., and various other countries around the world. And alongside Laurie, we have our dear friend to Canada Helps, Paul Nazareth. Paul is a leader in Canada's philanthropic sector with over 20 years experience. He has been a philanthropic advisor with a national wealth management firm and spent over a decade with charities like the University of Toronto and the Catholic Church of Greater Toronto. Paul is on the board of several charities, is chair of the advisory board at the Humber College Postgraduate Fundraising Program, on the advisory council of the Carleton University Masters in Nonprofit Leadership Program, among many other things. So without further ado, I will now hand it off to Paul to take over the presentation.
Thanks so much, and thank you everybody for joining us today. So we're excited to be talking about this campaign that has been in the works for over 2 years. And now that we think about the times that we're in, it's needed now more than ever. So we're just going to share a little bit about the Canadian Association of Gift Planners. We've been around for over 25 years. This is actually our CEO and our team here. If you can see, that's actually the bed John Lennon was in their protest. It's an organization that exists to be the bridge between charities who understand that asset-based giving, planned giving is vital, the advisors who make those gifts possible, and the public who we need to teach that there are options to different type of cash giving. We do that through our 20 chapters across the country, education, and development. And so we hope that being this bridge and this campaign being our public outreach that continues our 20-year campaign, many of you may know by the title Leave a Legacy, will be an evolution that's needed to advance this cause and this important mission to help your vital causes. So, why this campaign? Many folks will know this, Leave a Legacy, will know May is Legacy Month. There's all sorts of activity across the country. but the fact is that we've needed an intervention. Before this crisis, donations have been in steady decline from individuals in Canada for over a decade. The hope we need is right in front of us, and that is gifts and wills. Most Canadians can do this, and the average bequest in Canada is around $30,000. And we have this incredible gift, better than the United States and the United Kingdom's tax advantages, to be able to use 100% of our credit against income tax in our estate. But the problem is, we've been speaking math to the head. It is time to add that language of hope for the heart. We need it to be mass marketed. We need it to be Canada-wide. If we can change a few more hearts and in collaboration with advisors speak to a few more of the head, donors can make billions more donations, and it can be affordable and accessible. CAGP's heard the sector. Charities were already worried about bequest solicitation, and at this time we know that charities are more worried about how we talk about this. Canadians are actually wired to give. It's in our DNA. We've got both tax benefits, and people right now are responding in an unprecedented way. Through Canada Helps in a lot of ways, that they want to give and they're hardwired to do so. And in this recession, and as we think about the rebuilding, cash will be tight. It's not only the time to double down on bequests and estate planning relationship building, but we have seen through history that economic downturns are the time to double down on bequest discussions. The time is now. So our colleague Laurie, who has been our volunteer on this for over 2 years, who is now our national director, has been working on this with volunteers across the country, and our national team in every province with focus groups, advisors, and charities is going to take us through the campaign.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, so as Paul mentioned, I'm going to take you through the campaign, starting with the research. So we conducted research with Environics in the summer to show what the state of legacy giving is here. And we found that only 5% of Canadians leave a gift in a will. And that number hasn't changed in over 15 years. So you can see that we haven't really moved the dial forward. And when you compare this against the UK, for example, where 17% of their population leave gifts and wills, or Australia, where 12% of their population leave gifts and wills, you can see we have a lot of room to grow. There's actually a lot of opportunity here. What we also found in our research is that Canadians are all aware they can leave a gift in their will, but about 60% immediately reject gifts and wills because for them it's this either or choice. Either I can support my loved ones or I can support a charity in my will. I can't do both. Of course I'm going to support my loved ones. Now that misconception is something that we'll be addressing in the campaign. That's the biggest barrier that we need to get over. What also came out of the research is that 30% of Canadians are actually interested in gifts and wills, want to leave a gift in their will, but only 5% take action. There is this huge inertia, which to be honest, I don't think is the case anymore. What we're seeing with the current situation is that people are going out, writing or revising their will in droves. Even more time for this campaign. This campaign is even more timely as a result. So, our goal in 10 years' time is to move the dial forward so that 8.5% of Canadians leave a gift in their will. Now, it doesn't seem like we're moving the dial forward that much, but that's $40 billion to charity. That's the power of gifts and wills. Now, this additional revenue was welcome news before. As Paul mentioned, donations have been in decline to charities for some years now, but it's certainly welcome news given our current situation. And when you compare this again against the UK that's had a campaign for about 10 years, they've been able to move the dial forward 3.6% in their country, and that's been something like $3 billion per year to their sector. So we know this kind of campaign is based on success. We know it works. Okay, so the campaign, as Jen mentioned at the beginning, is called Willpower. And this is the biggest effort in our history to make gifts and will the social norm. The whole purpose of this campaign is a sector-wide collaboration. We're going out there, we're putting gifts and wills in people's sightline, we're changing perceptions about gifts and wills, and we're making it easy for charities to take part. And I'll talk a little bit about how charities can partner in the campaign later on. So let me take you through some of our draft advertising. Now, this advertising was done, of course, before COVID hit. We'll be doing focus groups with the public this spring and likely tweak messaging accordingly. But we believe that because the campaign has this uplifting and empowering message, that it will still be relevant in September. But of course, our focus group will determine where we need to tweak and change. But as you can see, we're challenging this either-or notion. You can leave a gift in your will to your grandson, but also to cats, also to the charities that you care about. So for example, 99% goes to your loved ones, but 1% goes to charity. It's simple, easy call to action, and we're trying to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek, trying to show that you can see yourself in this ad. Here's another draft advertisement for the campaign. As you can see, we have different advertisements for the different buckets of charity in the campaign. So all charities can take part, from international development to environment to health to animal rights organizations. These are causes that all Canadians care about and all want to be empowered to leave a gift in their will. All right, so let me take you through how the campaign works. So on the left here, you have the campaign advertising. So the bulk of this campaign is online, and the reason being is that our donors, our target audience, I should say, is online, our target audience being boomers. Very much so. Plus, they're doing all their legacy research online. So they're researching wills, they're researching lawyers, they're researching the organizations they want to give to online. And so it's imperative that reaching our correct target audience at the right time, therefore an online campaign. So a large portion of the marketing will happen on Facebook, where our target audience is. We'll be doing display advertising, search advertising, a bit of paid advertising, so Zoomer Magazine, for example, as well as billboard advertising, radio, and PR. So for those of you who aren't familiar, PR would be spots on CBC radio, for example, breakfast television, bits in the newspaper as well. So Joe Public, for example, sees the advertisements, is interested, clicks through to the website, and the website is more than just a flat website. This is a one-stop shop bequest. So Joe Public clicks through right up front and center that he sees the cause that he cares about based on the ad that he clicked, and right underneath is where the charities are featured, right up front on the homepage where motivation and inspiration happens. So he might see his tree cause up top and then his environmental charity logo underneath. He can click on that logo. It takes him to an individualized page on the website where that charity would have their information, how they use gifts and wills, their charitable, their registration number, and who to contact. For example, that page is customizable. Let's say Joe Public is interested in finding out a little bit more about how his gift would be used. He can take the exploration tool, the gift calculator, which is a simulation on what his gift could look like. So for example, he would enter in his assets, he would enter in the number of beneficiaries he has, 99% goes to his beneficiaries. What does 1% to charity look like? $30,000. Oh my gosh, I'm a philanthropist. So it's a visualizing tool to inspire and to show how the ordinary person can make it an extraordinary gift. And from there, we drive Joe Public to an advisor for more information or to a charity to find out how his gift would be used. So he has a choice of charities after he completes the simulation. Let's say Joe Public is interested in taking that next step. We have the first step tool, the online intention form. Now this is where he can enter in how much he wants to leave to charity, which charities he wants to leave it to, and then he can send it off to an advisor. So he can enter in his own advisor's information, or he can choose from one of the advisors that are partners in the campaign. The intention form is sent off to the advisor. The advisor can follow up with Joe Public and keeps that intention form in his file for the next time he revises his will, so that you are front and center when that choice is made and when the gift is written into the will. And then lastly, we have the information resource section. So this is where charities would upload stories of their donors, for example, and where we'd have sponsored content, so information from advisors on, technical information related to gifts and wills or gifts and life insurance on that information resource page. Okay, Paul?
Thanks, Laurie. So we're excited to have this discussion with you today. Many of you will know our team, myself as faculty, from our courses across the country. This year we engaged with 5,000 professionals in charities and advisors to really talk about what this means together in our work. As charities, we really need this undesignated money. We want people to come along with us, but we need those advisors to partner with us. You'll probably know the famous African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so this is what we're really trying to do with this campaign, is bring these three elements together: educate and engage the public, educate charities, and work with advisors to get these gifts properly done in wills. Scarcity thinking puts us in a finite place with a finite pie. And this campaign will be growing the pie, and Laurie's going to share how you're going to get your said piece of it and let us know what's in that pie. Laurie?
Thanks, Paul. So as Paul mentioned, we are all working together to promote this campaign and support the campaign. But for those charities that are partners in the campaign, we want to make sure that you actually capture a piece of the pie for yourself. But before I get into the benefits, Jen, we have a poll. I'm interested to know how many on the call actually have an existing plan giving program. Jen, do you want to run the poll?
Yep, so it's up on the screen. So folks, just pick your answers, and we'll just turn it off in a few seconds. Just give it another 7 seconds or so. All right, I think everyone's got their poll answers in. Just put it up on the screen here.
Okay, Jen, do you want to share the results?
Yep. So we've got 37% have said yes and 63% no for current plan giving program.
Wonderful. Great. Okay, so that is great news. We've got a lot of people who are already doing plan giving, and a lot, it seems, are interested in starting to take it on. And this is where the campaign can help. So let me start by talking about broad-based marketing. So this campaign is your broad-based marketing tool. You're front and center with people who are thinking about gifts and wills for the first time. You're featured upfront on the website. That online exploration tool, that gift calculator, actually drives leads to you. And in future years, we'll also be doing a community engagement event in your communities. Of course, we're putting that on hold given COVID. You're also top of mind with the online intention form, where people are making their choices and sending it to their advisors to actually write that gift in their will. So many charities are speaking to their own donors, but what we're trying to do here is expose you and have you speak to a larger group of donors outside of your organization. But as you can see on the point on the right there, it takes 7 to 10 touches outside of your organization's communications to move your donors along. So yes, we're speaking to a bigger pool of donors here, exposing you to a bigger pool of donors, but at the same time, you're also speaking to your existing donors, moving them along outside of your own communications. Now, particularly interesting for those who don't have an existing plan giving program, what we do is provide you with plan giving in a box, essentially. So we provide partners in the campaign with a marketing toolkit. And the marketing toolkit has all the branding elements. It has the advertisement, an online advertisement, a print file for a print advertisement that you can tailor to your specific cause. So there's the marketing there for you. We also provide template communications for you to speak to your donors as well, and some PR ideas. So this is provided to you in the campaign for you to use with your specific donors. Now, different charities can use this in various different ways. Like I said, there's a UK campaign as well as other campaigns across the world that do these kind of campaigns. And in their campaigns, they also provide marketing toolkits. And some of the ideas that have come out of those campaigns is that charities use these. Perhaps the larger charities will use these as a website takeover during the month of September, or a digital piece. They'll put it up on their social media channels. But some of the small to medium-sized charities are actually using it as their direct mail piece. So they'll send that out. They'll send this an ad mocked up with a marketing toolkit out to their donors. And we've heard of a charity getting 212 leads from one of their from using the marketing toolkit and sending out a communication piece to their donors. So it's malleable. You can use this marketing toolkit in whichever way you choose. We also provide you with the training and the know-how around plan giving. So we'll provide you with the annual research, some of the research I mentioned at the beginning of this call, to help guide your program. But perhaps what's most important is that we provide you with one free CAGP education session. So that's an intro to plan giving. What are the different types of plan gifts? How do you speak about a gift in a will? How might you start a program, et cetera, et cetera. And then we also provide one free CAGP membership for a member of your organization. And with this, you have access to a whole other variety of tools, plan giving textbook, as well as you have access to a community of experts which you can ask questions of. Okay, so let me move on to the timeline. Now, we had planned to roll out Willpower in a three-phase approach. So we're piloting the campaign this year in September, testing it in 3 large urban centers in 2021, and then rolling out across country in 2022. So this year, the pilot happens in Hamilton, Oakville, and Niagara Golden Horseshoe in southwestern Ontario. Originally, we wanted to have all our partners signed up by the end of May, but we're flexible with timelines now given the current situation. But we will be doing our partner training in June, and then the campaign launches in September. So, and then in 2021, we'll be continuing along with Hamilton, Oakville, Niagara Golden Horseshoe, but adding Toronto, Montreal, and Calgary. And then in year 3, all communities across the country will have the campaign. So for this year, we're inviting national charities or Ontario provincial charities or charities in the Niagara Golden Horseshoe to participate. Though we would encourage other charities who are outside of the pilot area to sign up if they're interested for future years. We have a waiting list. I'll show you how to access that later in order to join the campaign when it comes to your community. Okay, so the partner fees. Now, we know that those who are signing on to the campaign in its early years are coming along a journey with us as we roll this campaign out. So in thanks, we want to offer our partners that we call founding members, those who join the campaign in the first year it's in your community, a 15% discount. And that discount's already in these partner fees here. In addition, we will provide you with preferred placement on the website. Now, the way we count partner fees is according to the received donations averaged over 3 years. So taking a look at your financial statements, how many donations do you receive in a given year, average it over 3 years, and there would be your partner fees accordingly. Now, we know it's a really difficult time for charities. Budgets are tight, so we are able to provide some flexibility on a case-by-case basis. I encourage you to get in contact with me to find out more. And I just want to give a quick shout out to some of our seed funders and founding partners who joined the campaign early, particularly the Rideau Hall Foundation and Toronto Foundation, Oakville Community Foundation, and Hamilton Community Foundation, as well as the Hamilton Health Sciences and some other charities who signed up to the campaign early in 2020. And we also have some partners who signed up for the 2020 campaign already, Sick Kids and Princess Margaret, for example, in Toronto. Okay, so that's the campaign in a nutshell. As you can see, it's really the aim of this campaign to put this, this opportunity in the public's sightline, to encourage different perceptions around gifts and wills, and then to make it easy for charities of all sizes to participate in the campaign and get plan giving going for their organizations as well. There's a $40 billion opportunity here that the charitable sector desperately needs. We know that we're in for a bit of a rough ride with economic downturn. So we hope that this campaign can provide a bit of hope for the future to create and rebuild revenues. You can see here that this website is where you would sign up for the campaign. There's two areas where you can sign up. You can sign up for the pilot if, again, you're a national, Ontario, provincial, or Niagara Golden Horseshoe charity, or you can put your name on the waiting list if you are outside of the pilot area and want to participate in future years. I also welcome anyone and everyone to give me a shout. You can contact me at this email here. Thank you very much for your time. Paul, did you want to end off?
Sure. Just a note, because a lot of the questions that we were receiving as we were setting up this webinar were focused on that plan giving knowledge and how charities can grow their plan giving program. As we saw from the poll, most of the charities on this call don't have a program, and that's exactly what this campaign is here to help with. We know that when we look across the country, most charities run plan giving off the side of their desk. And again, now, as we look at this rebuilding phase, we know that cash giving will be a huge important factor. Being part of this campaign will allow you to do that, to be part of the campaign, to be bringing in gifts. And again, what's different about this campaign than many we've had in the past is that we are using data to understand where we started, where we're going, and it is creating leads for your organization in all communities across the country. But you will get access to education as part of CAGP. Again, we've got a couple webinars coming up, but most importantly here, you will get access to that textbook as part of the campaign, and we will be doing training for small shops. In the meantime, if you want to get started, here are some resources for you that you can jump into right away. Some free webinar and podcasts that can go from there.
Great. Jen, do you want to take questions?
Yes, so this is now the Q&A period. So everyone feel free to put your questions in the questions log. We did have a few that came in during the registration process. So for Laurie and Paul, a couple of questions here. The first one is, how do you recommend requesting donations during this time when so many are suffering significant personal and economic losses?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that, Jen. And I take it by that question, you mean how do you request gifts and wills during this time? I would suggest that at this point, this particular junction, that it's probably not the right time to go out full force and ask donors to leave a gift in the will. We need to give a bit of recovery time. But that's also what the campaign is there for. So the campaign is launching in September, when we believe we'll be out of this crisis, when people will be looking forward and wanting to put something positive out into the world when the world's being turned upside down. And so the campaign's going out there, it's talking about gifts and wills, and it's what we recommend is tacking on your ask to the campaign. It's a third-party neutral way of speaking to your donors about gifts and wills. Paul, do you have anything to add to that?
You know, right now we're in high touch with estate planning lawyers across the country. They are seeing an unprecedented number of wills being created. And again, they're saying, we understand this is a time to pause, that there's a nuanced relationship with donors, but we're also hearing from them and financial advisors that donors want to respond, that donors care. Again, we are hardwired as Canadians to give, and we just need to make sure that the information is out there, that the public is informed when they want to respond, and advisors have the tools they need to make these gifts happen. That's what the campaign is going to be focused on at the right time in this next rebuilding phase. And then we're going to prepare you as a charity to feel confident to have these conversations with donors and go deeper in your relationship with them.
And I just want to add quickly onto that as well, that what we're talking about here is future giving. And as Paul mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, that history has shown, research has shown that gifts and wills and other types of planned gifts are the one area of giving that can grow during a time of economic downturn, because it's not current giving, it is future giving. So I think that what we've seen from this research, that the time to ask for that is now, and by now I mean September.
Great. Thank you, Laurie and Paul. So the next question I've got here, how does a charity start up their own planned giving program, and which stakeholders should they reach out to?
Okay. I mean, we spoke about this a little bit during the presentation, but again, the campaign is one way for charities to start up a planned giving program in a quick and efficient way with access to the marketing materials if you're going to be doing it off the side of your desk. Now, using that marketing toolkit, I would suggest that you would target the donors that are closest to you. So we like to use the term recency, frequency, monetary amount. So those are the donors who give most recently, most frequently, and at a certain level to your organization. Those are often your best donors for bequest giving.
And again, for a lot of those charities who may be starting from scratch, although we do find that most charities are really continuing or restarting a planned giving program. But for those starting from scratch, as part of this campaign, you're going to get access to the Planned Giving for Canadians textbook that's updated after every federal budget and has the templated materials like gift acceptance policies and board motions, etc., to get a planned giving program going. So we're going to help you to get that jump started to make sure you're up to speed to respond to when the campaign launches.
Awesome. Thank you both. I've got a couple questions here about the advertising for the campaign. Hope you can answer. So one is, will the online ads be geo-targeted? For example, we are provincial, so I won't only want to reach people in my province. And are there any key influencers, such as advisors, who will be part of the campaign? Why or why not in terms of targeting?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, the ads will be geo-targeted, especially in the first year. And there certainly will be influencers in the campaign. So when we're talking about doing PR, we'll be using influencers to do those earned media spots like CBC television or CBC radio, for example. We're starting to line up influencers now. For example, I mentioned earlier we have a partnership with the Rita Hall Foundation. So we're looking at some of their connections with past governor generals, for example, to help us speak to the public about gifts and wills. And as far as advisors are certainly key influencers when it comes to gifts and wills, and they will definitely be part of the campaign. So just like charities are part of the campaign, advisors are part of the campaign too. So they go through an education process. They receive tools to speak to their clients about gifts and wills, and they'll be part of the website where the public can reach out to advisors for more information. I hope that answers your question.
Great. Thank you, Laurie. Thanks for expanding on the advertising aspect of this campaign. I'm going to jump into, in the vein of locations. We are a chapter-based charity with locations across Canada. Would our location be based on our head office, which in this case is Calgary, or based on chapter locations in pilot areas?
So it sounds like you're a national campaign, and if that's the case, yes, you would certainly be able to be part of the campaign in the pilot year. So you would pay your regular partner fee as per that tiered membership structure that I showed you earlier based on your head office. And then for national charities that want to participate in different areas, there is a small additional fee for each office that you want to participate in the campaign, or I should say each regional office. So for example, if you're a national charity, you pay one fee. And in the first year, that's the only fee you pay. But let's say next year we're in Toronto and you want to have your Ontario office participate, you'd pay an extra $450.
Great, thank you. In terms of more national organizations, there's another question here. We are a national association in Montreal. Can we register for the pilot to start in September, or do we need to wait in 2021?
Sorry, but they said they were a national organization, Jen?
National Association based out of Montreal.
Yes, if you're a national organization, you certainly can participate in the pilot. I would encourage you to contact me. Maybe we can just talk about whether or not you have a unique situation or not. But regardless of if you're registered in Montreal or not, if you have presence across country as a national organization, certainly can participate in the pilot, but we should probably talk first just to make sure that you will receive benefit.
Great, thank you. Got a few more questions over here. I'm going to try to group some of these together. In terms of small charities, so there's a question, how can small charities compete with large, well-known ones? And in this case, there's a small charity like a hospice, for example. How would it work for them?
It's interesting. We actually have interest from a lot of hospices in the campaign. I'm not sure about kind of the word competition. The idea behind this campaign is that it's a sector collaboration, and people are coming to, and it's not so much kind of competition between the charities that are part of the campaign. The public that are coming to the campaign website are coming and then looking for the charities they care about. And you're featured up front with the large charities. And because if you're a founding partner, you get preferred placement on the website, you're actually featured up front. So that kind of helps in your promotion and your exposure to the public. I'm not sure if that answers the question.
Laurie, if I could jump in here too, because this was also a good part of my work when I was with Canada Helps. And a lot of times this is one of the challenges with campaigns like this. And very often it becomes about kind of logos and paid access. And the whole structure of this campaign is about getting organizations equal access, but also making sure that the donors find what they need and we're surfacing you. So that's a big part of participating in this campaign, that in your region, that you have that equal access to the donor. And if they're searching, our goal is to make sure that they find you in all the different avenues that they would come up between healthcare or community. You know, part of this is helping a donor walk through what does that idea of legacy mean. A lot of us only fall into one category when in fact we represent many different categories of what donors are looking for. So getting that equal access, that democratizing factor will be a big part of this campaign in the marketing and even again that website piece.
That's a really good way of putting it, Paul. We help to surface you with people who are interested, who might not have seen you, you might not have been in their sightline before, as well as your existing donors.
That's great. Thank you both for expanding on that. It's really a big help for charities to know they can get involved. I'm going to do a couple more questions here. This one is there a proposal package that can be used to inform leadership or decision makers at our organizations about this campaign?
Yes, definitely. On the website, and you'll receive the slides afterwards with the website details, we've got a proposal that you can download on the website. It's similar to the presentation you're seeing here. And of course, I'm happy to speak to any decision maker, well, yourselves and any decision makers or anybody that you need a presentation in your organization.
Thank you, Laurie. So I'm going to do this one last question. It's a great question about stewardship. They say, once a person has made a commitment of a planned gift, any suggestions to continue the stewardship of this donor to keep them from changing plans?
Paul, I'll let you take that one.
Sure. And, you know, this is absolutely what we teach as part of our courses, and this will be part of the education that you'll get as part of this campaign, between the direct education of a teaching session and, again, access to the Plan Giving for Canadians textbook. This is one of the most remarkable resources that's out there. It's 25 plus years old. We update it every year after the federal budget, and we're constantly updating it for strategy like digital, donations of cryptocurrency, of the different advantages of environmental property, and recognition and stewardship. And again, as Laurie said, this is the time. We've seen this from several different examples over the past 30 years in economic challenges and downturns, that stewardship is the time to go deeper with donors. And the key thing is, you can't steward who you don't know. And this campaign will be about connecting you to those donors, working really hard to get you those leads, to get you those that access point, the conversation, to thank the donor, recognize the donor, and then steward them. And as we hear from leaders like Penelope Burke from Cygnus Research, AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals, in their What Canadian Donors Want research. The bequest is opening the door, and stewardship will actually evolve over time. The more contact you have with donors, we have Canadian data to show that donors who make a bequest raise their level of annual and major giving. So there will be a big stewardship element to this. But again, this has been one of our failings in the past, that we can't steward who we don't get access to. And there'll be a lot in this campaign about connecting you to your donors.
Great. Thank you so much, Paul. And thank you everyone for your questions. That's all the time we're gonna have for questions for today. If there's anything that hasn't been answered, we are going to send the slides over to you folks within the next 24 hours. It will contain Paul and Laurie's contact information there should you want to reach out. So thanks again to Paul and Laurie for taking the time today to go through the opportunity the charities have with the Willpower Legacy Giving campaign, as well as expanding on the information how they can participate. It's been really helpful. Thank you to all the attendees for joining us. If you want to stay updated on more webinars such as this, where we get some guests together and some experts to speak, be sure to follow us on Twitter at CharityLifeCA, our company page on LinkedIn, and subscribe to our charity email list so you get to receive the next invite for upcoming webinars. Thanks for joining us. Paul, Laurie, hope you're safe. Everyone else, take care as well. And we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar.